So first day of Guitar Summit is over and I'm back at the hotel, and I thought, well, I do a little recap on what I actually did and saw. First of all, I was again invited by Lichtlärm Audio, so I'm at their booth. They have a booth together with Harper's guitars and Driftwood amps. I'm helping Daniel, but I get some time to explore the actual summit. So what have I seen? First of all, of course, the Lichtlärm booth. Daniel brought some really awesome new stuff. He has a fuzz prototype that really slays. We have to talk about it. And he also brought the Death über alles pedal. It's the signature pedal from Hanno from Mantar. And he also has the Thorns. It's the signature pedal for Amen Ra. Some really cool distortion pedals. He also has the Ragnarök. This is his first ever tube preamp. It's based on the Prometheus. I'm pretty sure I will do a review on this. He of course brought all his other pedals. Most of them you've seen on my channel already, so I won't bother talking about. What also is really cool is that he's now exploring bass effect pedals, and he brought two types of pedals. First of all, a bass distortion prototype, and let me tell you, this is really disgusting. I actually have to take a prototype with me. I hope I can get one. And he also has a bass compressor that's in typical Lichtlärm way, just more than every other pedal. Another huge announcement was that he's now building a Lichtlärm guitar. He brought a prototype, and this thing looks really cool. I really like the body shape. I'm not so keen of the neck, but he told me the neck is way too big. He did want it smaller, so he will get another prototype. But apart from that, it's a really nice guitar, and it totally fits the visual aesthetics of Lichtlärm. Driftwood also brought all their amps, the Darkest Nightmare, the Purple Nightmare, and I've already done a review on their two pedals, the Heavy Hatchet and the Purple Nightmare preamp pedal. And I've actually talked to Marek and I want to do an amp review. I wonder how this will turn out. Well, let's see. The guys at Harper's have awesome guitars. I mostly like their Zeus model. I'm not sure how the shapes are actually named. It's basically this one that looks like a combination of the Gibson Explorer and the Ibanez Iceman. This is really cool. They also have a new finish called the Xenomorph that just looks awesome. If I were into black guitars, I'm not into black guitars, but they told me that it would technically be also available in every other color you can imagine. So that's really cool. So apart from my booth, I was at the Engel booth, and they had the new-ish Fireball guitar effect pedal. I could play it. I think it sounds awesome, especially for a pedal. And I could also play the new Ravager amp, and for this price tag I was blown away by the sound. It doesn't have this much features, especially on the front, but the back is full of IR loader and every feature that's really convenient for today's modern guitar player or the old school guitar player. I've also talked with Engel, and I hope I will do reviews on both units. Let's see. Then I spotted a booth with 3 of the same pedal boards. I have never heard of this company. They are called Citadel Electronics, and well, it turned out they just launched at Guitar Summit. They have a huge variety of different pedals. They have 7 in total. They have a fuzz, gate, and distortion, tube overdrive, phaser. They even have a bass effect, a bass compressor. I played around with some of the pedals. I really like the distortion they did. It doesn't sound like anything else. They told me it's a totally unique design, and I believe it. It has an integrated gate, which is cool. The fuzz sounded also cool. The combination of distortion and fuzz sounded awesome. It didn't make any noise when I turned on the noise gate. And well, I talked with them again, and I hope I can do reviews on their pedals really soon. Well, let's find out. One of the things I was most excited for was the PV booth, because they released their new preamp pedals that are based on classic preamps or classic amps like the Rockmaster or the PV Bandit or the PV Supreme. And if you know my channel, you know that I'm really into the PV Supreme and the Bandit. They do have some kind of chainsaw history. And I checked out both pedals into the clean channel of an infected, and they sounded really cool. I prefer the Rockmaster in this particular setup, but both sounded awesome. Again, I will most probably do a review on both units, at least on both units on the channel, and I think I will compare them to the originals, at least to the Supreme and to the Bandit, because I own those. At the same booth than PV was also Beatronics from Los Angeles. I think it was Los Angeles. They're originally from Brazil, and guys, let me tell you, their pedals look so astonishing. They're totally way over the top, both visually and technically, because they have so much going on. They're no easy pedals to dial in. They're not for beginners. And I had the pleasure to play around, and one of the guys dialed in some tones he really liked, a variation of different sounds, different pedals combined together, and you get really inspired by those pedals, and the pedals dictate the way you have to play. And when you get into it, and when you say, okay, well, pedal tells me how to play, you play actually less, it sounds really awesome. Just beware your typical blues licks don't work, and your typical metal licks don't work as well. I also was at an Audio's booth. Last year I met Nicky at Guitar Summit, and he sold me his 4 amp switcher, and he actually built a custom switcher for Nightbearer. I will show you in the future, and this amp switcher is total genius. I use it in the studio. I'm currently producing a review, and Nicky is such a good guy, and we really became friends. And I like his products, and if you're in search for an amp switcher, he does offer the 4-way, and he also offers a 8-way switcher with 8 amps and 8 caps actually, or 4 amps and 4 caps. What he also does is he has an expansion for the FX loop, so you can basically change the FX loop together with the amp. So if you have an EQ in the loop of amp 1, you can, when you select amp 2, the EQ goes within the FX loop of amp 2, and that's really cool. You can really compare how different effects affect the different amps. I almost exclusively looked for pedals on Friday, but I checked out some guitars. Apart from obviously the Lichtlamp prototype and the Hapas guitars, I checked out a classical guitar by Solidus. It's 10-string, and this is actually the model that my 10-string was inspired by. And I'm kind of in a mission to purchase a new classical guitar, and there are so much builders here. I have to explore more, probably today and tomorrow. I don't know if I've told you, but well, you know that I do own 2 swirl guitars, swirl finishes, and I'm a huge fan of swirl finishes. And when I stepped by the booth of Ipe guitars, they had a swirled Ibanez, and looked really cool. And Ipe Guitars is now offering swirl finishes in Germany or in Europe, and that's unique, at least to my knowledge, and I've searched quite a time. That's cool. Well, that's my recap of day 1 at Guitar Summit. Tomorrow, day 2. So day 2 of Guitar Summit is over, and well, I have wet hair, but that's another story. Today was Saturday, and Saturday is always the day that there are the most people, so it's really full at the booth. I had to do lots of talk, and this I really liked it, but however I couldn't explore more of the other booths, and I hope that I can do this on Sunday somewhere. However, I made a little tour and I found some cool stuff. I was also with the guys at Underdog Audio who just recently sent me the chuck for demoing purposes. And I talked briefly with them. They even remembered me. And but was just brief. I hope I can spend some time with them on Sunday as well. Then I had, well, actually 4 other conversations. First of all, my biggest surprise, I was at Groove Gear, from whom I own the fret wrap, and I really like the fret wrap, and I spotted their guitar cases. And they have a double electric guitar case for specifically designed for flights. And I was really surprised by the build quality, by the features they have. So I spoke with them, and hopefully I can do a review in the future because this product looks really promising. Then, since you know I've stepped up my classical guitar game, I had to check out some classical guitar booths. And one that really stood out was Delfina Guitars from Portugal. They had all kinds of stuff. I spotted them because they had this huge, harp guitar, and but it turned out they also had an awesome 7-string classical guitar as well as some other stuff, and I tried the 7-string, and to be honest it was the best classical guitar I played at the show, and it doesn't cost as much, still quite expensive if you're coming from the electric guitar realm, but it was so nice. And Orlando told me that they also do custom 10-string guitars, so of course I had to try the harp guitar as well, but it's cool that I've tried it, but it's actually not my cup of tea. I didn't expect to be this second tone hole to be so distracting from the other stuff. But it was a cool experience, and where do you get the possibility to play such an instrument totally for free? Guitar Sunday. And then what was really interesting, I found a booth where they had piezo pickups for classical guitars, and the guys from K&A Audio do them. They are easily installable and removable. You just have to put them under your strings when you attach them, when you put on new strings on your guitar. And I played it, the sound quality is really good, doesn't sound like a piezo at all. There is maybe some little high frequencies, but you can easily dial with them in the mix, so it doesn't have this harsh sound. It also picks up nicely all the other stuff you can do with the wood. For instance, if you're fingerstyle playing and you're using the guitar body as a drum kit, picks this up as well. And they told me that they are able to do a 10-string custom version for me, and now I'm actually thinking about purchasing the 6-string version and installing it on one of my classical guitars and ordering the 10-string when I'm fully satisfied while testing at home. The last booth I stepped by was this time an electric guitar. It was Artisan Guitars from France. I spotted them because my friends from Routerberg Amps were at their booth, and so I said, well, let's try the guitars. And they do offer acoustic guitars, even a jazz guitar and electric guitars. And the electric guitars were the most interesting because they looked absolutely beautiful, and they had a really moderate price tag on them for fully custom built guitars made in Europe. There were 2 versions that especially caught my eye because they had this really nice texture of the wood. They had some holes, one of them had an F hole. This was my favorite guitar, and the other one had some other holes but just looked really nice. Actually, the colored one was a bit distracting because it was so beautiful, I couldn't concentrate on playing, but the other one really nice, and I think I have to talk with them about some special gear or so. However, not right now because I have other stuff coming. So be excited. I am excited for my purchases and of course for the last day. I think this will be one part. So until now, well, let's actually make some transition. Ha, gotcha. Still Saturday. I wanted to talk about the wet hair because you might think, well, why did he mention it? Isn't it normal to just take a shower after a day full of work? Well, yes, but I typically shower on the morning. And Daniel had the great idea that we should hit the gym. So instead on going into a restaurant and eat something, we went to the gym. And yeah, so I mean, I have to do everything for the gains. So yeah, now the real transition. And here we are again. I'm back at home, as you can see. However, I thought, well, just don't use your typical camera situation or lighting situation, just give it raw. I think this fits this vlog. And well, I've showered again. This time, however, I did not hit the gym. Instead, I hit Burger King. Oh, guys, are you eating this? Just tasted like ketchup and mayonnaise. I don't see why people are going there. And I even had to wait way too long. Anyway, last day on Summit, I still want to give you my little recap here. And today I had way more time I could spend exploring all the booths that I haven't been to, come back to some booths I have been, and so let's start. First of all, I explored, I already was there on Friday, however there was no test station free, and this is Empty Head Effects. He has some crazy effects, mostly distortion, but he also has delays and reverbs, tremolo, and a couple different distortions I said, but technically they are fast pedals. And whoa, they have so much options and they sound so unique because all the knobs do different things, and it's basically, I felt kinda like I'm talking to a mad scientist, a very friendly and kind mad scientist he is. And yeah, I really loved his stuff, and I hope I can bring some pedals here on the channel so you can enjoy them too. The next booth that I stepped by was Alutone Guitars, and they make guitars totally out of aluminium, and they aren't as heavy as you might have guessed. The prototype just weighs about 4 kilograms. It's way under 4 kilograms, 3.9 actually. And yeah, they feel really unique. Their construction process is really unique. They don't look ugly. However, the double cut is not my favorite body shape, but that's me. And they sound really cool. They're really resonating even without, even unplugged. They sound really loud and you can play beautifully on them. And the playability is also nice. Maybe they will come on the channel as well. I don't know. However, cool company. I also visited Skull Strings from France. And actually my buddy Loris, who is with Geoffrey from Rutterberg, they introduced me to Gwen and her father, and they're so nice people, and they have a really unique approach regarding strings. They are fully built in France, and they are totally customized to the customer's guitar. So they ask a couple of questions regarding different length and preferences, and then they build strings that totally fit your style, or at least they hope, and if it doesn't, they will accommodate. And such a cool company. I have two sets that I'm going to try. One is for electric guitar, the other one is for classical guitar, and I will get / order more to try them with my favorite tunings and my typical playing and tuning style. And yeah, that's a really cool company. Definitely one of the biggest surprises on this summit so far. And well, it has ended, so it could have spurred this so far. Anyway, I also quickly made a visit to Jupiter FX, And my buddy Chris, he sent me some pedals. I did stuff on the channel. I absolutely love the Katastrophe. I love the desk saw, and I even made some funny video with the EQ where I totally put it in the wrong place, but it sounded cool anyhow. He didn't bring this many new products with him, except for a deluxe jive, but their booth is always fun. And well, they do have a 300 watt tube amp called the Titan, so what couldn't you like? And then I actually went back to Delfina Guitars from Portugal because I forgot to film some B-rolls, and there the master luthier was there, and we briefly talked about his guitar, and we talked the possibilities of going custom with a 10-string guitar, and they were totally into it. We even had some tech talk, and I'm just not so much into classical guitar as I'm into electric guitar in points of bodywood and construction, but they were so nice and they were really into it, and I guess I've probably ordered a classical guitar, but I'm worth it, and they're worth it as well. Such nice guys, such high quality instruments, really cool. Yeah, and that basically was my guitar summit. I mean, I could tell you what I've eaten and how the drive back home was, but I guess you already know I've eaten at Burger King, and will be the last time for quite some for forever, I hope. uh, Anyhow, I of course met lots of cool guys, lots of old and new friends, and I can't be thankful enough for to Daniel from Lichtlärm for giving me this opportunity to help out at his booth and well, take my time to explore the summit. And yeah, that's really cool, and I probably couldn't do it in the way I'm doing it if it wasn't for him. So if you're watching this, thank you, Daniel. Well, and I think that's it. So check out the links in the description below, become a YouTube member, subscribe, wait for more Guitar Summit related content when I test all the products I've explored. And yeah, thank you for watching. May the power protect you, and have a nice day.